But first to the fallout from our story last night on how the civil war in Syria has sparked violence on Australian streets. Today, police swooped on one man in our report, charging him with common assault. And viewers have come forward with fresh footage of more violent attacks. James Thomas continues his investigation.
Was that punch about religious hatred, or were you just a thug? Omar, why did you punch him? Omar, why did you punch the guy?
After last night's story, Facebook lit up. Many shared the view that Omar Amouche, a devout Muslim, had brought his own religion into disrepute. 31-year-old Omar was charged today with assault after punching Jamal Daoud in front of our cameras. His coterie of fellow travellers arrived early at Bankstown Police Station, first to strategise their exit, then to stand shoulder to shoulder with their big man.
A lot of Muslims have said that you've brought shame upon their religion by the way you behaved, Omar. Omar?
Omar and some of his cohorts were accused by Jamal of using the Syrian war to inflame sectarian tensions in Australia.
If they don't like this country, they should go to Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, wherever. But here, Australia, this is democracy. You can't intimidate people in the middle of the day. You can't punch people in the middle of the day.
We spoke to a number of people that were too afraid to actually talk on camera. A female journalist who received death threats because she was a Shiite. The family of Ali Ibrahim, who was shot 3 times because he was allegedly a supporter of President Assad. And numerous business people who wouldn't talk to us because they feared for their lives as they'd been threatened because of their religious affiliations.
We are looking at a very small minority of people doing a very small minority of acts, but something that hasn't happened before. And it only takes a couple to create that sense of angst and anxiety amongst the community.
Joseph Wakim founded the Australian Arabic Council. He worries about the impact the war is having in Australia.
Some of that have decided to take the law into their own hands, as if there is no frontier, no boundary between the war in Syria and the war in Australia.
One viewer watching our story last night recognised Omar and sent us his own CCTV footage of another violent act.
Go get a stick inside.
Anzac Day, just 3 weeks ago. This quiet street in Western Sydney is about to erupt.
15 guys came and attacked him. Look at that. Terrorist. What are they doing living with the general public? They don't know. They're uncivilised, uneducated. What are they doing?
This is the man filmed by his sister that night, Zakaria Taha.
Do you want to go and help instead of standing here videoing your poor brother on the ground?
They're very violent people, very violent.
Zakaria and his family live next door to this man, Bilal Khazal. Khazal was convicted in 2008 of terrorism offences relating to the online publication of a so-called terrorism manual. He was freed on appeal, but the High Court recently overturned that and is back behind bars. The trouble began, says Zachary, when the neighbours accused him of putting up cameras and working with ASIO to spy on him.
The cameras are for safety purposes. We had a lot of robberies around the area. Our car's been stolen, and it's helped police to identify perpetrators that got into our cars and to identify them.
Zachary claims that Omar Amouche and his friends are followers of Khazal's and that now they're targeting him and his family.
The worst, they said they're going to bomb my house, firebomb it. They said they're going to rape my sisters. Yeah, and they wanted to shoot us and bash us, which they did. They carried that through later on.
How old is your brother? I need details for the ambulance. How old is he?
Zachary, his younger brother, 3 younger sisters and their mother are all Sunni Muslims. But Omar and his gang appear not to care, constantly abusing them for being Shia, which they're not.
They got it in for us, just like they've been intimidating us all that time. I guess that's what they suspect us, you know. They kept saying that we're Shiites and infidels. We say we're Sunnis, they don't care, irrespective of what we say to them. They're making us out as we're infidels.
Does it have to come to this? Does it have to come to this? Someone's paralysed or killed?
There's no need for shouting right now.
The CCTV footage shows what appears to be a liquid being thrown, along with numerous projectiles.
Glass, throwing tea, hot tea in front of in women's faces, burning them.
At around 11:30 p.m, after more than 3 hours of antagonising the family, the night took a turn for the worse.
First, there was a punch, bang, by that big fella, the one that was featured on the show. He punched me straight to the head. Then the sheik came in to punch me as well, and then all these men started punching me, punch. I'm going like this, trying to defend myself like that.
In the aftermath of this violent confrontation, reason was abandoned in favour of desperation.
That's our faith in the law now. Nothing. It was a build-up to it. Of course it's going to happen.
Despite the 5 police vehicles and at least a dozen officers attending this assault, no one has been charged. Zachary makes an incredible claim that police won't take a statement from him, but hopes that something will now be done so that he and his family can stop living in fear.
This is Australia. This thing shouldn't be happening in the streets and suburbs of Sydney. This is Australia. These people don't want to do this sort of stuff. They should go back to wherever they come from and do this sort of stuff.
And the police deny they're ignoring the assault on Zachary and his family. They say they're determined to bring the perpetrators to justice.